Hello everyone, I'm doing something that I don't usually do. I'm wearing the same outfit because I'm recording 2 videos back to back because something has occurred that is too funny for me to not bring up, but also it's not big enough, literally, like not long enough for me to really, make like a 30-minute video on. What is that? What is causing me to record 2 videos back to back? That would be the Sabrina Carpenter analog horror. A sentence that I'm so overjoyed that I can say out loud. My name is Glitchwitch.jpg. I make videos about internet horror, analog horror, digital horror, creepypasta, internet urban legends, ARGs, sometimes survival horror, sometimes movies. And I am also a girly pop. Very rarely do I get to discuss things of the divine feminine like Miss Carpenter herself. I'm not gonna sit here and analyze the Sabrina Carpenter analog horror by genius YouTuber Devil's Flights. I just want to, first of all, let you know it exists, and second of all, have a little conversation about IP analog horror. And yes, I'm calling Sabrina Carpenter the person an IP in this situation. The Sabrina Carpenter analog horror was suggested to me on YouTube, and of course I clicked on it faster than I even knew I was able to click. And to my shock and pleasure and horror also, it's good. It's funny, it's stupid, but it's well made. And yes, it's using a lot of existing footage from Sabrina's promotional stuff, but the essential premise is it is an advertisement for Sabrina's album Short and Sweet that devolves into like a emergency alert system saying, watch out, because Sabrina Carpenter has killed 7 and she will kill more. And I think that's so funny. There are a lot of references in the comments to the now iconic tweet by the 17-year-old who said that they're scared of Sabrina Carpenter because, she wears 8 pairs of nude tights, but will shake her butt a little bit on stage as women want to do, which I think is very funny. This idea that truly one of the sweetest, funniest, cutest, goofiest pop stars we have has been under fire for being overly sexual, and it's like, diva, did you not listen to the words to this song? You as a parent need to not take your 8-year-old to see Sabrina Carpenter because you need to listen to them damn words. And also, clearly, people may be complaining about her body count. I don't think that they know what body count they're talking about, if you catch my drift. So, first of all, I think that making fun of that whole idea that Sabrina Carpenter is scary is genius and funny, and that's maybe where this person is coming from. I'm not sure. I have a feeling that this person is probably a Sabrina Carpenter fan and then just made this as a joke because analog horror is kind of a little bit of a meme, but it's very well edited. Keep going, Devil's Flights. I see you and I want more from you. Even if it's just fun parody stuff like this, give me a Gaga one. Give me a Chaperone one. Give me an Olivia Rodrigo one. Please, for the love of God, give me a Benson Boone one. A little fun fact about me, Glitchwitch.jpg. Ever since the Grammys, that man has lived in my brain rent-free. I don't like him. I don't like his music. But the fact that he did that backflip for no reason, and that he told that girl who said he stole, or he reheated Harry Styles' nachos, that he said, well, when Harry gets nominated, then we'll see. And it's like, Benson, baby, that man has been nominated several times. You didn't get a Grammy nomination before Harold Styles. So, if someone wants to make a Benson Boone analog horror for me, please. Please. But another thing that this made me think of that I think is a hot topic in the lovely world of internet horror is IP internet horror. IP internet horror is something that we have dealt with for a long time. Creepypasta birthed it with things like Squidward's Mouse.avi, Dead Bart, Herobrine, Sonic.exe, Ben Drowned. Like, there's so many. I'm missing. There's more. There's absolutely more. But it's kind of always been been the schlockier side of creepypasta. And we have started to see it a little bit in analog horror, and I won't lie to you, I struggle with it a little bit. I think the best examples in analog horror of like IP analog horror are Five Nights at Freddy's related analog horrors. But that to me is different because Five Nights at Freddy's is such a loose, strange, amorphous plot that I think a lot of these analog horror creators are going and taking, you know, the puzzle pieces and putting it together in a more visually enticing, palatable way. And then you have creators like Martin Paredes who did the Walton Files, where it's really not Five Nights at Freddy's, it's just animatronic horror. He was clearly influenced by Five Nights at Freddy's, but it has become its own thing. So FNAF is like best case scenario. And then, you know, we have certain things. I think one of the most like polarizing IP analog horrors is The Man in the Suit, which is the Godzilla analog horror by Unknowingly. And that blew up, did gangbusters, and there have been some very positive reactions and some very hateful reactions. I am not a huge fan of The Man in the Suit personally, but people need to chill, I will say. The hatefulness was a little too much. I think there's concepts going on in The Man in the Suit that are really cool, but I do think it being an IP-based story is holding it back. I think Unknowingly has great potential to kind of go off and do their own thing, and I will be watching and seeing what they continue to do. They're a very young creator. I think they're under 20, so there's a whole world out there for them. But I do think in that case, like holding to the production timeline of Godzilla and all the Godzilla characters, it weighs down what I think could have been a more experimental and free plot line. But on the other hand, I don't know if it would have gotten as much attention if you didn't have the IP attached to it. It's kind of the, like, damned if you do, damned if you don't. Whereas another great, wonderful IP analog horror project, I made a whole video on it, the My Little Pony Divine Swamp Fever AU. There was a, like, My Little Pony infection AUs going on. This had to be, like, a year and a half ago at this point, and a lot of them suffered from being not great. But the Divine Swamp Fever one was just gorgeous. It was a delicious analog horror. And I was someone who didn't watch it because of My Little Pony. I just watched it because I thought the art was cool. So that's a case of, like, the analog horror was compelling enough that you got people who don't know nothing about My Little Pony engaged. So it's a dance. It's a dance, right? And the one that y'all... I need you to be real with me, and I need you to be honest with me, because I've heard too much bullshit that I'm scared to watch this. But I think the breaking point of IP analog horror and why I think I need it to just fade away is there's a Batman one. It scares me. I haven't heard a good thing. I see screenshots from it, and I'm just... the self-preservation in me says don't watch it. So I do want to know from y'all, are people just being unnecessarily mean the way they were being to the Man in the Suit? Or should I stay away? And that's one that, again, I don't know, like, is it just, it's popped off. Like, it has more views than many of the very, very good series that I've covered on my channel, maybe ever will. But are people watching it just because, like, oh, it's a Batman analog horror, I want to see what that is? Are they watching it just because they're hearing that it's bad, or are they genuinely watching it because it's good? And that whole concept is what I'm tying back to this Sabrina Carpenter analog horror, is I clicked on it for the gimmick. And I think that with some of the IP internet horror, whether it's creepypasta or analog horror or whatever, the gimmick is what propels it forward. And I don't know if the creator of Sabrina Carpenter analog horror intended for this to be a perfectly meta satire of internet horror IP, but it is. So thank you for that, Devil's Flight. You're now a pillar of this community, whether you wanted to be or not. Please make me a Benson Boone analog horror, please, I'm begging you. So this was super short, this was super quick. I just kind of wanted to talk about that very unique, strange, goofy world of IP analog horror. And I'm sure there are others that I'm not thinking about, but those are kind of the big ones that come to my mind. And again, I'm not shitting on them. I gave you 2 examples that I like. I think some of the FNAF VHS stuff is great. I think that Divine Swamp Fever is some of the best shit I've ever seen. I think my Divine Swamp Fever video is my best performing video. Because the girlies yearn for wiggly ponies. And maybe the girlies yearn for pop star analog horror. I think this is the time. Devil's Flight, you're a good editor. Make an original pop star analog horror. I would be all over it. What a world we live in. I do want to say I'm a Sabrina Carpenter fan. I love that little bitch. She is short representation for short people. That's the only ways that we look alike. Is that we're both short. I do not look like Sabrina Carpenter. So thank you so much for watching. I don't know when this is coming out, because I recorded another video 5 minutes before I started recording this one. But regardless, I'd like to thank my YouTube members. You're getting thanked twice in 1 week, divas. In Creepypasta OC, up on screen, hello, my friends. In Survival Horror Emo, we have E-Rob and So-Called Punk. And then in Analog Horror Scary Face, we have Kira Coffer and Alvacan. If you would like to become a YouTube member, there's a little subscribe button down below. I promise I usually make longer videos than this. But liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing, all of that, it does wonders. So thank you so much for watching Stream Short and Sweet by Sabrina Carpenter, and go give Devil's Flight some love for creating this wonderful piece of analog horror. I'm gonna say herstory now. Bye.